So here are 5 mistakes that students generally make while preparing for CFA. Now, ideally, these mistakes can apply to all the levels, but hopefully, if you don't apply them in level, don't make these mistakes with level 1, you obviously will not make it for level 2 and level 3. So with that said, mistake number 1 is being unable to manage your time during revision. So what we mean by this is that there are 10 subjects in CFA, most of them which are newly introduced to some of us. And when you are practicing questions or trying to revise concepts, you do all of them at once, and you might morph 2 or 3 subjects into one, and there is always an overlap between certain subjects. So it can get confusing. The exam is split into 2 sessions. Session 1, which is the morning session, which has 4 subjects, and session 2, afternoon session, which has the balance 6 subjects. So our suggestion is that study and revise the subjects in clusters of session 1 and session 2 separately, so that during the exam there is even more clarity for all of y'all with respect to what your revision entailed. So I think session 1 has quants, FRA, economics, and ethics. So revise those subjects as well simultaneously, and then the balance 6. I think it would make a huge difference for a lot of y'all trying to clear in your first attempt. Mistake number 2, not appearing for mock exams by yourself in real exam-like conditions. The goal for most candidates is to quickly learn all the new subjects as fast as possible, practice sums, get the right answers. Where you get stuck, you look behind, you look at the answer, and then try and figure out where you screwed up. And it's a very natural approach based on the way we studied in school and college. However, for CFA, the best idea that we've seen it time and again work for everybody, is appear for a mock exam in exam-like conditions. Which means when you're appearing for a mock exam, make sure that you are locked up in a room like a real exam center. Have all the have your laptop completely charged. Have the calculator with you. Since it's a 5-hour session, make sure that you have 5 hours where you do nothing like you would do in the exam. Don't just have bullet points in your own answers, or don't look at a question and say, oh, I know this, so let me just move on to the next one. Actually jot down the answers the way you would in the exam, and see how you are able to survive in those 5 hours of mock conditions. The best way for us to explain this to you is, think about it like this. If you do this, let's say 3 to 4 times to 5 times before the real exam, the first exam that you give by yourself, you don't score well. The second is fine, and third you get better, and fourth is better, and then the fifth one is you're really comfortable. After putting yourself in a real exam situation 4-5 times, and then you appear for the final exam, the chances that the final exam can rattle you, the fact that it can be an exam which you might have a higher chance of failing in, the chances of that drops drastically by putting yourself in this situation again and again. So make sure you give mocks in a exam condition like environment at home. Mistake number 3 is not using the Calci enough. Now, we might not be used to using the calculators that we're supposed to use in CFA, the HP12C or the BA2 Plus. You have to understand the tremendous importance and value it brings for your CFA exam. We might have used the Calci in the past, we might be using it in different ways, but there are certain formulas in CFA like net present value, which you can calculate manually with the help of a Calci. But these Calcis have these formulas already accounted for. Knowing how to use them, being sure that what you're calculating is yielding the correct result, at least from the Calci, gives you a huge advantage in speeding up your exam answers for the exam. Also, the CFA examiners expect us to use the CFA Calcis rather than doing everything manually. Practicing formulas which are in the calculators, practicing certain shortcuts, becoming faster on the calculator, all of this will give you an advantage of clearing in the exam. Candidates unfortunately don't put enough effort here. So in fact, at Zell, one of the things we do is there are specific lectures during which we spend a lot of time teaching students who've never used these Calcis all the tricks and trades of the process. Mistake number 4. CFA has now become a computer-based exam, but unfortunately, most of the students who come from outside are still used to practicing everything on paper. it might be difficult to switch while learning concepts, from your typical textbook and practicing on paper to a laptop. You might be tempted to tell yourself that, you know what, let me learn everything, let me figure out how to get the answers right on paper, and then I'll come on the laptop, then I'll come on the PC. But believe us, that is a recipe for disaster. It's just extremely difficult to make a switch last minute just because you know the concepts, right? So our suggestion is that start practicing from day one on the laptop. If the change is uncomfortable, along with using something which is unknown, which means you're already shifting from paper to laptop, which is a transition which is difficult, plus you're learning subjects which are unknown, right? The combination of the two might be difficult, but trust the process. By the end of this, you will be more used to the laptop, and it'll give you a huge advantage during the exam. And guys, before I discuss the fifth mistake that candidates make, I would like to thank all of y'all for helping us reach 20,000 subscribers on our channel. We are one of the largest finance and accounting education channels in the country, and we've gotten people from all across the world reaching out to us, asking us doubts, and we've been able to help them make better career decisions. We make a lot of these videos based off of the comments that you guys put up. So anything in the future that we all would like us to, research on your behalf and then explain to y'all, please let us know. And in the meantime, do like, subscribe, and share all these videos. And mistake number 5, a lot of candidates underestimate the importance of subjects like ethics and financial reporting and analysis. So now ethics is unfortunately considered as a very dry, boring, and an easy subject, to the point where people just feel that it's something that should be left for the last minute, or oh, let me finish the other 9 subjects first and then I'll come to ethics since it's only theoretical. These mistakes are quite costly because number one, ethics is easy, but only if you have spent a little time in understanding not just the concepts of the ethical standards that CFA wants to perpetrate, but how CFA tests you in the exam. And most of the ones who are starting level 1 are not used to this. The ethics questions can be tricky, they can be confusing if you mildly prepared for it. Similarly, FRA has huge weightage in level 1 at least, but it's a lot of fun. It's accounting. There is a lot of number crunching, a lot of calculations, and the topic is vast. It takes almost a month to complete this if you do it by yourself. We have mentioned this in the past, and once again, candidates take it very lightly, saying that, oh, accounts, we've been doing since years in college, and it's a very scoring subject from what others have told me, so I'll leave it for the end. Do not make those mistakes. Take these subjects seriously. In fact, give them the due amount of time that they deserve. Check the weightages that they have in level 1 and apply all your efforts in making sure that you spread the effort equally based on the weightages of the subjects, rather than just what others tell you, or rather than what you find before you start, what might be easy for you, what might be difficult. So that's it. These are the 5 mistakes that we've seen most of our students make. We try to make sure that all our students at Zell almost never make any of these mistakes, and we'd like to extend that to all of you all who are probably watching this, going to self-study, or just know anybody who's giving level 1 and can help them, and you can share this video to help them with their studies.